Today we are going to talk about an action fantasy film called Attack on Titan Part 1. Be prepared, because this recap contains spoilers. 100 years ago, giant human-like creatures called Titans appeared and nearly wiped out humanity by devouring everyone they encountered. To survive, humans built massive walls around their cities and managed to live in peace for many years. However, nobody knew how long those walls would continue to protect them. One day, inside the outermost wall, Eren meets his friends Armin and Mikasa. While standing on top of an old missile, Eren jokingly teases them but ends up embarrassing himself instead. He talks about how frustrated he feels living trapped inside the walls his entire life and says he wants to discover what exists beyond them. In frustration, Eren kicks the missile and accidentally reveals a hidden painting of the ocean, leaving everyone amazed. Mikasa imagines how beautiful the ocean must look in real life. Eren tells her that they can see it with their own eyes someday if they choose to leave. Later, the group secretly approaches the bottom of the outer wall and becomes shocked by its enormous size. Eren wants to climb the wall, but his friends try to stop him because they fear the punishment they could face. Armin reminds Eren that countless Titans are believed to exist outside the walls. However, Eren refuses to believe the Titans are still alive because nobody has seen them for over 100 years. Their argument is suddenly interrupted by border patrol guards, who attempt to remove them from the restricted area. When Eren sees his friends being arrested, he angrily attacks the guards without thinking about the consequences. Just as the soldiers are about to execute him, Zelda, a close friend of Eren's father and the captain of the soldiers, steps in and stops the fight. He promises to personally discipline the children for breaking the rules. After the guards leave, Zelda laughs at Eren's reckless behavior, but also understands the boy's desire for freedom. He explains that the military has recently decided to explore the world outside the walls, so they may not need to risk their lives themselves. Suddenly, a massive explosion echoes across the city. The ground begins shaking violently like an earthquake. Everyone watches in horror as part of the giant wall starts collapsing from an attack coming from outside. Moments later, an enormous colossal titan appears, towering even higher than the wall itself while steam surrounds its body. The soldiers stare at the terrifying creature in fear as it lets out a deafening scream and repeatedly kicks the wall. After several powerful attacks, the titan finally breaks through the wall. Then, it suddenly disappears into the thick smoke as if its mission is complete. Soon, the group notices countless terrifying titans entering the city through the destroyed opening. The monsters rush toward innocent civilians, while the military desperately fights back by firing cannonballs at them. Although the attacks slow the titans down for a short time, the creatures quickly regenerate and continue advancing toward the soldiers. People scream in terror as the Titans begin grabbing civilians and devouring them alive. Eren runs through the chaos with his friends while Armin goes to check on his parents. Panic spreads across the city, creating complete chaos everywhere. The Titans quickly reach the populated areas and begin destroying buildings while eating people as if it were a feast. Eren takes Mikasa toward a church where frightened citizens are desperately trying to get inside for safety. During the confusion, Mikasa notices a baby lying on the ground and rushes to save it. As the crowd pushes forward, Eren gets separated from her. The terrified people force him inside the church while he struggles desperately to reach Mikasa but fails. The citizens quickly lock the doors in fear and refuse to let anyone else enter. Eren watches helplessly as a terrifying titan with massive sharp teeth slowly approaches Mikasa. She stares at the creature in fear before finally lowering her head and accepting her fate. Suddenly, a massive explosion erupts nearby, forcing everyone to fall backward in shock. When Eren looks again, both the titan and Mikasa have disappeared. Without hesitation, he rushes outside while the people immediately lock the church doors behind him. Eren slowly stands up and realizes that the city around him has been completely destroyed. As he turns around, he sees several titans surrounding the church. The monsters tear open the building as if it were made of paper and begin devouring everyone trapped inside. Eren turns away and limps helplessly through the ruined city. 2 years later, the military prepares a mission to reclaim the outer districts that were lost during the Titan attack. After escaping behind the inner walls, the survivors were forced to abandon the farmland located in the outer areas. Because of this, food shortages became severe, causing rising crime rates and increasing deaths among the population. The military understands that they must retake the land and repair the walls in order to prevent mass starvation. Commander Kubo introduces Captain Hinge, the military's weapons expert. She demonstrates a newly designed grappling device that is supposed to help soldiers fight Titans. However, the equipment appears more dangerous to the soldiers using it than to the Titans themselves. Eren has now joined the military alongside his friend Armin, who also survived the destruction from 2 years earlier. They later meet Captain Saldo, who is helping distribute food to the soldiers. Saldo appears exhausted and hopeless as he constantly drinks alcohol to cope with the situation. Armin explains the mission plan to the other soldiers. Their goal is to destroy the upper section of the damaged wall so it collapses and blocks the opening where the Titans enter. Although the destroyed section would become lower lower than the rest of the wall, it would still remain taller than ordinary titans. Once the entrance is sealed, humanity can eliminate the remaining monsters and reclaim the city. The soldiers prepare to leave at sunset because titans become inactive during the night. Since the creatures react strongly to sound, the scouts must remain completely silent in order to survive. The giant gate slowly opens, and the soldiers head outside in armored vehicles. As they travel farther away from the second wall, their captain suddenly notices movement ahead and orders the convoy to stop. The soldiers step out of their vehicles and begin scouting the area carefully. At first, they only find abandoned cattle and see no signs of danger. Suddenly, one of the soldiers, Hyana, hears the sound of a baby crying from inside a nearby building. Even though the situation seems suspicious, she decides to investigate. Eren quickly follows her because he wants to protect her and make up for failing to save Mikasa in the past. The two move deeper into the empty buildings, and soon Eren also begins hearing the cries. Without warning, a sticky liquid suddenly falls onto Hyana's face. The two slowly look upward and discover a small titan on the rooftop devouring a human body. The creature jumps down and begins crying loudly while Eren and Hyana run away in fear. The noise alerts the rest of the squad outside. Their captain tries to calm everyone and warns them to stay quiet so they do not attract nearby titans. Before he can finish speaking, a hidden titan suddenly attacks and kills him from behind the walls. Eren rushes back toward the group while several titans chase after him. Seeing the danger, the commander orders the vehicles to retreat immediately, leaving the remaining scouts behind. With nowhere else to go, the surviving soldiers run toward the nearest building in an attempt to escape. However, they soon become trapped as a massive titan appears directly in front of them. Just as the group is about to be killed, Captain Shikishima from the recon team suddenly arrives. Using incredible speed, he attacks the titan's weak point behind its neck and kills it instantly. Another skilled fighter quickly appears and effortlessly eliminates a second titan. As the creature's body begins evaporating, the woman lands nearby and reveals herself to be Mikasa. Eren stares at her in complete shock. Although Mikasa notices him, she shows no emotion and says nothing. Captain Shikishima approaches her with a smile, and the two quickly move across the rooftops together. Eren remains speechless after finally seeing Mikasa again. Later, it is revealed that Shikishima had been guarding the explosives under the commander's orders. However, he was never told the exact location of the operation in order to prevent possible sabotage. Commander Kabo then shows the captain an underground passage that humanity considers its final hope for survival. One of the soldiers, Jean, blames Eren for attracting the titans and nearly getting everyone killed. The two begin arguing and eventually start fighting while the others watch in frustration. Mikasa suddenly arrives and stops the fight. Meanwhile, Captain Shikishima asks Eren for his name. After hearing it, the captain surprisingly seems to recognize where Eren comes from and decides to speak with him privately. Shikishima asks Eren why he hates the titans so much. Eren replies that the titans stole humanity's freedom and trapped everyone inside the walls. However, Shikishima disagrees with him. He believes humanity is also responsible for its own suffering because people became weak after hiding behind the walls for so many years. According to him, humanity has become like helpless cattle that no longer know how to fight back. The captain tells Eren that he is no different from the others. Eren angrily denies this accusation. Shikishima smiles and encourages Eren to overcome his fear and fight the titans if he truly wants to reclaim his freedom. Later that day, Eren finds Mikasa standing near a broken piano. He tells her that he is relieved to see her alive. However, Mikasa does not respond warmly. She reveals that the baby she tried to save during the attack was devoured by a titan. Mikasa then shows Eren the large bite mark on her stomach and tells him that the world is cruel. Before their conversation can continue, Captain Shikishima arrives. The captain and Mikasa openly show their closeness in front of Eren. Realizing that Mikasa is no longer the same person he once knew, Eren walks outside and screams in frustration. Soon, Hyana approaches him and tries to calm him down. She encourages Eren to forget about Mikasa and move on. Hyana takes him to their shelter and attempts to comfort him. Meanwhile, another couple nearby behaves affectionately, creating an awkward atmosphere. Hyana explains that she is a single mother who joined the military to support her daughter. She even suggests that Eren could become part of their small family someday. Their conversation is suddenly interrupted when a massive eye appears through the wall. A titan crashes into the building and grabs Hyana before pulling her into its mouth. Eren watches helplessly in horror as she is devoured. Soon, more titans begin surrounding the area, forcing the military to evacuate immediately. The soldiers launch themselves toward the titans, using their grappling equipment in an attempt to slow the monsters down. Captain Shikishima effortlessly kills several titans by dodging their attacks and striking the weak spot behind their necks. Mikasa also fights fiercely and manages to save several teammates during the battle. At the same time, many inexperienced soldiers are killed while trying to fight the giants. The commander orders everyone to focus on protecting the explosives needed for the mission. Nearby, a female soldier cries cries in despair after her boyfriend dies while trying to save her. Captain Zelda pulls her away from the body as she screams that she wants revenge against the Titan responsible. Meanwhile, Captain Hinge notices someone attempting to steal the truck carrying the explosives. The grieving woman manages to climb onto the vehicle and discovers that the explosives have caught fire. She fights the thief inside the truck and eventually knocks him unconscious. Filled with rage, she drives the truck directly toward the Titan that killed her boyfriend. The truck crashes into the monster before the explosives detonate in a massive explosion that knocks the Titan to the ground. Unfortunately, the attack proves useless because the Titans quickly regenerate and continue attacking people once again. During the chaos, Eren notices Jing hiding on a rooftop and tells him to fight alongside the others. However, Jing admits that he is terrified and too weak to battle the Titans. Remembering Captain Shikishima's words, Eren becomes determined to fight back. Fueled by anger, he charges toward the Titans with the intention of destroying every one of them. Because he lacks real combat experience, Eren struggles to control his grappling equipment properly. Seeing his determination, Shikishima begins guiding him during the battle and teaches him how to attack effectively. Eren charges toward a Titan and successfully kills it. However, before he can celebrate, another Titan suddenly grabs him and throws him into its mouth. The creature bites off one of Eren's legs before tossing him onto a rooftop. Meanwhile, the scouts realize that Jean is still trapped inside a building. Armin quickly comes up with a plan to rescue him. The group begins making loud noises to lure the Titans away and create an opening. Using the distraction, Jean escapes and kills a Titan with a single strike. The group then attempts to flee the area together. Suddenly, another Titan captures Armin and prepares to devour him. The soldiers attack the monster together, but their strikes fail to stop it. Despite his injuries, Eren rushes toward the Titan after seeing his friend in danger. The creature opens its mouth and begins swallowing Armin right in front of him. Eren refuses to let his friend die. As Armin desperately struggles to climb out of the Titan's throat, he continues sliding deeper inside. At the last moment, Eren grabs Armin and forces the Titan's mouth open. He throws Armin to safety but falls into the monster's mouth himself. Eren lands inside the Titan's stomach and discovers countless dead bodies around him. Among them, he sees Hyana, who was killed earlier during the attack. Holding her lifeless body, Eren screams in pain and swears that he will destroy every Titan. At the same time, the remaining survivors become surrounded by Titans, while both the captain and commander are nowhere to be found. Mikasa reunites with the group to help them escape, only to learn that Eren has died. She stares at the remains in shock and struggles to suppress her emotions. Determined to protect the others, Mikasa decides to fight the Titans head-on and create an escape route. She attacks the monsters one after another and cuts them down with incredible skill. However, her gas supply soon runs out, causing her to crash onto the ground. The Titan that swallowed Eren slowly approaches her. Even then, Mikasa refuses to give up and prepares to fight until the very end. Suddenly, the Titan begins screaming in pain and violently throwing up. Moments later, a giant hand bursts out of the creature's body. The Titan explodes apart, revealing a glowing red berserker Titan inside. The mysterious Titan roars in anger and immediately attacks the other Titans by targeting their weak spots. The survivors watch in complete disbelief because they have never seen a Titan fight against its own kind before. The berserker Titan continues slaughtering the surrounding Titans with overwhelming strength. As Mikasa watches closely, she begins to recognize something familiar about the Titan's fighting style. Sota studies the battle carefully and realizes that the Titan may actually be Eren. After defeating all the enemy Titans, the berserker Titan lets out a furious scream. It then notices the soldiers standing on the rooftop and charges toward them. Everyone steps back in fear except for Mikasa, who calls out Eren's name. The Titan suddenly pauses for a moment before grabbing Mikasa and lifting her into the air. As the creature stares at her, it slowly begins recognizing who she is. Eren finally regains consciousness and starts transforming back into his human form. The Titan's body begins evaporating into smoke as Eren falls to the ground. Mikasa quickly rushes toward the Titan's neck with her blades drawn. With a single strike, she cuts open the neck and pulls Eren safely out of the body. To everyone's surprise, Eren's missing limbs have completely regenerated. The soldiers watch in amazement while Eren slowly regains consciousness. From a distance, the captain observes the scene calmly, showing little surprise at Eren's transformation. What do you think about this movie? Let me know in the comments below.